Hi, Juliet, and I hope that maybe at some point your family, mother's family, or your mother or friends are listening to what it was like when you came over here after um, the incident when she tried to sneak off to Florida with you, and I stopped her. And you came over, slept over one night, and came over after school one day. And I created this for you, all right? This is how you spent a lot of time on the computer, most of the time, but for an hour every day we did something. And one of the things we did, especially early on, is I made this book, and it's called Juliet's Book of Knowledge. And I would just sort of think of something, there was no real structure to it, but it was about me being a good father and teaching you just things I could think of, and um, anything. And I started the book, and it says, I had you write this. I dictated it to you, but I wanted you to have it written down so that you could read it. I can do anything anyone else can do. The most important thing is I can own my own intelligence because no one can ever take that away from me. And I can use that to solve all the problems of my life, or I can try to use it to solve all the problems of my life. I am Juliette Lloyd. I like myself. And you signed it Juliette Lloyd. And I wrote, from your daddy, Juliette, as long as I am alive, I will always be there for you. Any problem or difficulty you may have, you can come to me, or you can call me, and I promise to help you, always. All right? What I would say to anyone who doubts my character or what I did with Juliet or any idea that I caused her any harm, I would always repeat this. If there were a videotape of all the time that we spent together, I would be seeing Juliet right now because there would be no argument that I caused her any suffering or pain. This is something that is made up. It is something that your mother went through with and can't come back from. So she's got to stick with the story. Sometimes when you lie, and it's too embarrassing to say that you didn't, you've got to stay with the lie. Because one of the two of us is lying. I mean, we both could be lying, but we certainly both are not telling the truth. This one was on civilizations, ancient Egypt, ancient Greeks, Romans, the Dark Ages, the Renaissance, or whatever. Another day, I arbitrarily picked telling you what the different sides of the boat are called. All right? There was always vocabulary words, all right? It didn't matter if some of these weren't exactly appropriate for your age. There's no time frame on learning anything. If you don't learn it now, you have a book you can always go back to. Difficult languages to learn. Funny words. Pet peeve. Kerfuffle. Here's a good one. I think this might be very appropriate to what I'm going through right now. The 7 deadly sins. All right? I bet you a lot of people can't even name them if you ask them. And the 7 ancient wonders of the world. Now, there's something that definitely almost no average person can tell you. They probably could tell you the pyramids. They might be able to tell you the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. But the mausoleum of Hyrcanus, probably they're not going to get. Those aren't so hard, like the Colossus of Rhodes Lighthouse, the statue of Hercules, statue of Zeus, and the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and the Temple of Artemis, also probably not a lot of people would know. History of rock and roll. The most beautiful place on earth. I talk about New Zealand, where your mother and I went. Okay, the night sky in the south, and what the Milky Way is. comedy. Why you asked me this one? This is the one you asked me. Why is X sometimes pronounced as a Z? It's a very good question. You know, when kids ask parents questions like, why is the sky blue? Parents should be able to, especially with the computers we have now, is to be able to look it up and tell their kids, you know. Ivy League schools, which ones are they and where they are? I would sometimes give you a little test on this to see if you could remember from week to week. Like this one, how to make lasagna. And that very night, we made lasagna together, okay? Why did John Hancock write his name so large on the Declaration of Independence, okay? Age-old sayings, a stitch in time saves nine, don't cry over spilt milk. City nicknames, the Big Apple, Beantown, the Windy City, the Fourth Wall. You knew that one. I was surprised you knew that one. Swearing and cursing, a bunch of things, like a pack of wolves, a school of fish, pride of lions, a flock of seagulls. The parable of the scorpion and the turtle. That's a very good one. I always tell that. The story of the Central Park jogger, which actually is somebody that's in your family, mother's family. Weird facts, like who has the most dangerous job? Policeman, fireman, professional wrestler, airplane pilot, farmer. It's a farmer. More farmers get killed than anybody in any other professions. Sayings, how to be a teenager. I'd like to read that. These upcoming years will be your happiest and your most difficult. You will probably do things you shouldn't, as all teenagers do, but if you can avoid cigarettes and drugs, then you will have made a huge accomplishment. Other kids will pressure you, but doing these things are their way to act like adults. Yet, when they become adults, they're hopelessly addicted. Remember, like in The Tale of the Scorpion and the Turtle, there is no crime in just being yourself. Love, Daddy. And I'll say never be afraid. Okay? Then we would watch movies, and I would have you, this is your handwriting, watch Watership Down, and then I'd have you tell me about it. I did that with Lord of the Flies, and I also did that with To Kill a Mockingbird. All things that you would eventually read. And Extinct Species. And the book goes on and on and on. And you can see that, you know, this represents week after week after week after week after week of your coming in and us doing a lesson together. And I want you to remember that. And if your mother is looking at this, or your mother's family is looking at this, I want to know that's how you spent the first hour of your visit here. And I taught you to cook, I taught you how to sew, I taught you how to make a bed, I taught you how to think, because these are all things my mother taught me how to do. And you were getting to the age where you should have learned how to know all of them. And believe it or not, when you were 12, you told me you still believed in Santa Claus. And I said, I was very upset with your mother about that. And I said, go talk to your mother about that before you become the laughing stock of the 7th grade. You also slept with your mother up until you were 12, and maybe far beyond that. There were a lot of things about the situation that your mother did that I did not approve of. And I think that I'm allowed to have my opinion and not approve of them. And when they were brought up in court, divorce court, and I did bring those up, the judge did not approve of that either. And he ordered your mother to make you stop sleeping in her bed with her every night at your age. Trust me, I'm not making these videos to condemn your mother. I know you love her very much, but I want to have a fair trial here. I don't want this to be trial by just what your mother has told everyone. I want you to know about and what I have on my computer is my autobiography. Every word about every minute of my life since I was a child till I die, and that's going to be given to you by somebody when I die, so that you will know the story of my life. And we'll return to getting back to the events and emails that were exchanged between me and your mother, because I think it's important, not only just for you, but especially if anybody in your mother's family or friends are listening in, that they can see the absolute truth of what happened. And I am in no way saying I was 100% right and she was 100% wrong. But what I am saying is that give it a listen, make up your own mind. Love you. Bye.